In this video, I asked one of the top cybersecurity recruiters in the world so many questions about how to land your first cybersecurity job, how you can stand out when you apply to cybersecurity jobs when there are so many candidates out there. But I also asked him about the common mistakes that he sees in cybersecurity interviews and cybersecurity resumes. This video is packed with information and I've personally learned so much from this video. Let's get into it.
This is Paul. He is one of the top cybersecurity recruiters in Australia. He actively hires cybersecurity professionals from the very junior entry-level cybersecurity roles all the way to the most senior roles. I've worked with Paul for a long time. In fact, he is the one who got me my latest job in cybersecurity consulting. So let's cut to the chase. Paul, can you tell us when it comes to CVs and resume, what makes you reject a candidate right away?
So generally speaking, the average recruiter or hiring manager will spend about 6 seconds looking at your resume. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see is candidates actually put all of their relevant experience on the second or third page. Therefore, it is crucial to put all of your relevant experiences towards the top of your resume.
Yeah, actually, this has also been my experience. Like, I remember looking at this resume from someone who worked as a nurse for 10 years, and her plan was to move to cybersecurity. Now, when I looked at her resume, the first page was full of her nursing experience, which I think it's actually relevant and important. However, I had to scroll all the way down to look at the relevant cybersecurity training. So, Paul, this seems to be only fair, especially with someone like you. You probably look at hundreds of resumes per day. So if you see a resume that doesn't have the relevant technical experience or even training or certifications relevant to that role at the beginning, I think it's only fair to reject those resumes. I think this is honestly one of the most common mistakes that candidates make when they're trying to change careers into cybersecurity. Now, speaking of career change, like on the other hand, what makes a candidate stands out, especially if someone is trying to change a career into cybersecurity and they haven't worked in cybersecurity before? What are the things that they can do so they can stand out as a candidate applying to possibly their first cybersecurity job?
So some of the really important things that candidates can do to help stand out is to articulate why they're passionate about the industry, what they've done. Have they done further studies? Have they done volunteer work? Have they done side projects? Articulate why you're interested and what you've done to help bridge that gap.
So for example, Paul, would you say, like, if someone is trying to change career into cybersecurity and they want to stand out, is like certifications are important, projects, like what are the things that you see that are most relevant? Because it can be a little bit overwhelming and confusing for someone who has never done any technical work before and they are after a career in cybersecurity. So like, what would you say, like the transferable skills that they can highlight, or maybe the training courses that they can do from your experience that will make them stand out?
Before we continue, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, NotPass Business. Did you know that the average number of passwords used for business-related accounts is 87, according to a research conducted by NotPass in March 2024, which is absolutely insane. But you can manage all of that with NotPass Business, which is an intuitive password manager for both businesses and individuals, which makes it ideal for improving productivity. Not only that, but a huge security risk that businesses face is offboarding users after they've left their job. Research have shown that 1 in 4 people can still log in to accounts from previous jobs, granting them access to information they shouldn't have access to. But with NotPass Business, you can manage user access efficiently, which allows you to streamline both onboarding and offboarding by managing user access credentials. You can also track your organization's corporate data under a single pane of glass. Another big security problem that businesses struggle with is sharing sensitive information like passwords, PIN codes, and even credit card information. And sometimes they share it over email, which is not ideal from a security point of view. But with NotPass Business, you can share information efficiently and securely between business departments. Now, my favorite feature is still the data breach notification. Did you know that on average it takes weeks, 121 days for a business to know that they were compromised, which is an absolute insanity. But if you use NordPass data breach notification feature, you can change any compromised password before any damage is done. But best of all, you can try NordPass Business for free for the first 3 months. Not only that, they've given us an exclusive offer of 20% discount, which is crazy. Use the activation code UnixGuy at nordpass.com/UnixGuy. It's a limited time offer. And back to the video.
There are lots of certifications that one can do to help bridge that gap, right? So there are free ones like Splunk if you want to become a SOC analyst. That's a good starting point. There are obviously more advanced certifications like OSCP if you want to be a pen tester. There are also lots of programs out there, and I've actually built a couple over the years where we took people of adjacent skill sets. They could have been a software developer or even a high school teacher who wanted to become a cybersecurity consultant. We took them through and put them through training, certifications. So there are lots of associate or training programs out there with big, large companies. People often underestimate how transferable your skills can be. It's how to articulate it. The case in point, the example of the teacher. He had lots of experience with writing reports, presenting. It was just now a matter of him to focus those skill sets and learning the technical nuances of cybersecurity.
I totally agree with you. Honestly, some of the best individuals that I've worked with have been people who have done a different career before and they changed to cybersecurity. They bring in a level of maturity and a level of understanding and a good level of communication skills. I really like that. But I really want to go a bit deeper on training and certifications because a common theme that I see, not in the real world, but on the internet, is that people think that in order to land their first cybersecurity job, they need to have certain keywords and certain, that they think that there is an automated AI-based system that's rejecting them and preventing them from landing the cybersecurity job. My experience hasn't been that way. All I see people who don't land their first job is usually they lack the skills and the training. But I really want to hear from you is what are your thoughts around those quote-unquote ATS, and maybe you can elaborate on what that is. It seems to come up a lot, but also on the keywords, like is it really a problem for someone to try to land their cybersecurity job? Do you think like these keywords are stopping them from reaching their goal?
I think that's a great question. So there are applicant tracker systems that we recruiters use out there.
That's the ATS.
That's correct, ATSs. So quite often on these, if we advertise a role, there may be a score that might sit next to the candidate's names. So myself, you, and there'll be a score next to our names, 50%, 80%. And or it could be even 4 stars out of 5. So these ATSs often have inbuilt this ability to pick up keywords and it gives you a score. However, from my experience, I've never ever relied on those as a means or ways to assess a candidate. I know large organizations, like a large retail or really, really large bank, where they're hiring hundreds of grads, they may use those initially as a bit of a way to filter out, out of their thousands of candidates. But personally, I've never seen it used in cybersecurity.
Yeah, and honestly, to add to that, that has been my experience, Paul, is that when it comes to cybersecurity, I haven't really seen those quote-unquote AI systems rejecting candidates. Back to your point, I have seen those systems where, yes, a big organization, let's say like Amazon, they're hiring 2,000 delivery drivers or people who need to carry some boxes. Yeah, in that case, if you're mass hiring, those can be used. But if I'm hiring for a cybersecurity consultant and I'm looking for communication skills, I'm looking for, let's say, GRC experience or risk management experience, it's really not a clever thing to be relying on systems. I personally haven't seen it, but to be honest, more often than not, when I see a candidate telling me that they're struggling to land a job, when I look at their resume or CV, all I see is that they haven't done enough work. It's very rare for me to see someone who's really invested the time and the money in doing proper hands-on practical training that's tied up to the skills that we look for in a job. So speaking of interviews, Paul, as a cybersecurity recruiter, What are some things that a candidate can do that will make you reject them right away in that initial interview, the cybersecurity interview?
From my experience, there could be a couple of instances. Okay, so generally speaking, I do find that when the candidate is unable to articulate at all on paper or verbally on the phone why they're interested in the company, the role, or especially they're trying to break into the industry, and I'll ask them, because given that they're trying to break into the industry, their resume is very generic. And so they haven't specified which part of cybersecurity they want to move into. I'll then ask them, what would you like to do? Would you like to be GRC? Move it to SOC? Yes. Would you like to be an architect? And they're unable to articulate what it is. They'll just say, I just want to work in cybersecurity. If you haven't prepared, it's competitive out there. You've managed to apply for a job, you get a phone screen, definitely take the time to prepare and know why you're interested in the company, why you're interested in that career trajectory, and what you've done to help bridge that gap. Because you may not have the experience, and we understand that. A lot of times in these grads or entry-level roles, we're looking for people that will have a gap, and we're happy to bridge that gap. But you need to articulate what you've done to bridge that gap. Is it further training, volunteer work, as you've mentioned, or just some projects that you've done? Even if you've done it again on your own, you can demonstrate and bring those things to the interview.
Honestly, this is a really, really great point. And likewise, even if, let's say, the candidate interviews with Paul, it's the first interview, and then they come and interview with me, that will also always be the reason why I would personally reject someone. Because if you can't articulate why you want to work in cybersecurity, or what are you interested in, or what is it that you're doing in the interview, that is a problem, because it tells me that you're someone with bad communication skills. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I can teach anyone cybersecurity. I can teach you the technical skills. We know that you don't have all the technical skills that we want. We know that you're at the start of your journey. What I can't teach you is preparation, being on time, and communication skills. These things you should come prepared for. But speaking of interviews, Paul, I know this might be off the record, but when you interviewed me, should I have asked for more money?
Don't answer that.
Honestly, thank you very much for this. And if you're still not sure how to actually apply to cybersecurity job, I've given you a step-by-step guideline on how to look for those keywords, how to filter for them, how to prepare a cover letter and a resume to apply for your first cybersecurity job. All of it is in this video, and I'll see you there.